guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mimi and I'm so happy that you're here. Today I'm coming to you with a Sephora didn't work for me type of video. I purchased a bunch of stuff at the Sephora sale and there were a few things that just did not work out for me for one reason or the other, and I will tell you what those reasons are. I will also give you an alternative of something else that really worked for me. If it does have it, not all of them had an alternative identical to that item, but I can give you something that's similar, like within the same family that does work. So if you like videos like this, please continue to come back. I do post videos on my channel every Tuesday and Thursday, as well as grocery hauls on the weekend, and I would love for you to join. So let's just dive right in and get started. So like I said, I'll tell you a couple of the items that just didn't work for me, the reason why, and then I'll give you an alternative to what it is that works better for me. I don't have the product anymore, so I'll put a picture somewhere here along the screen, probably right here, of the product that I did return, and then also the alternative that I think just works a little bit better for me. So for starters, I did return 2 Lawless items that I picked up. The 2 that I returned was the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumper Line Smoothing Gloss. I returned was in the shade Velvet, and the reason I returned it is because I also purchased the shade George, and George just worked so much better for me. It's a beautiful gloss, but that one in particular just worked much better on my skin tone. It was a little bit more brown. We're both so similar when I swatched it that the Velvet was just a little bit more pink and I just preferred the brown, so I just returned it for that reason. They just were way too similar to keep both. The other one that I returned is the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Tinted Lip Balm. And the only reason I returned that one was because my favorite balm is the Summer Fridays. I love that balm and I didn't really need it. This one just didn't do very much. I've heard really good reviews on it. People really do enjoy it. I personally just didn't find that I needed it. I'll say that. I just didn't find that I needed that one because I just have the Summer Fridays ones. I have other chapsticks I'm constantly using, and if I'm putting anything on top of a chapstick, I prefer it to be a gloss. So that is the only reason I returned both of those. One item that I returned that I was actually extremely sad that it did not work out for me was the Makeup by Mario Master Crystal Reflector in the shade Bronzite. When I opened this product, it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful color. When I swatched it, it looked really nice. But when I applied it to my eyes as an eyeshadow topper, and this is supposed to be a versatile product. You could use it as a highlighter or, you know, an eyeshadow. I'm not entirely sure what else you could use it at, but I don't really use highlighters to begin with. And as I love shade toppers, that I do absolutely love. But when I applied this to my eyes, it was gone. Like, it would just vanish within, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes of having it on my face. For that reason, I did return it. I think it was like $26, and it just was not worth that price to me because it didn't stay on my eyes. I would have a little bit of reflection, a little bit of glitter, and it would just go away. That did not work for me. The alternative for me that I love, well, first off, any other eyeshadow topper, to be completely honest, any other eyeshadow that just has like glitter or reflection on it works really well. If you have an eyeshadow palette, most likely you have some. One that I really do enjoy as an eyeshadow topper is the Urban Decay. That one is just really, really good. Space Cowboy is beautiful, and that one stays on your eyes. And I get a lot of compliments when I use that one. So that is my alternative for that one. The next item that I ended up returning is the Merit Shade Slick Gelée Sheer Tinted Lip Oil in the shade Jeté. I think it's Jeté. I'm not entirely sure. I ended up returning this because it just didn't have any pigment. It was just a clear gloss, basically. And I think it has some of that pH balance stuff in it to where it'll give you like a hint of pink to your lips, which it did do that for me, but I'm not a pink person. And for the most part, my lips are already pigmented that I don't really get a lot of, you know, the pH balance stuff or pH balance, whatever it's called. I mean, people raved about it. So that was the reason why I picked it up. And even when I returned it, actually, when I returned it, the cashier was like, I really think you should give this lip oil another try. And it's just not worth it for me. It didn't work. It was just a clear gloss. It was a tiny hint of pink. I have the Tower 28 clear gloss. For the most part, I wear nude glosses. So it just wasn't something that worked for me. I didn't need it. I don't have an alternative to a tinted lip oil because I truthfully don't really do lip oils. I hear the Dior one's great. I have not tried it. I might pick that up at the next sale. But for the most part, just a clear gloss works. My favorite one is Tower 28. So I'll give you that option as a clear gloss, but as a lip oil, I can't really give you one of those. I did return a couple of blushes, and I'm using my phone, just FYI, so I can like see the items since I don't have them anymore. I returned the RMS Beauty Redimension Hydra Powder Blush in the shade Maiden's Blush. This was a beautiful shade in the packaging, but I could tell right away that it was going to be just too dark. I'm very, very light when it comes to blush. I really don't wear blush very often. However, I've heard really good stuff about this particular brand, so that's the reason why I wanted to pick it up. And then I returned also another blush, was the Sephora Collection Soft Matte Perfection Blush Duos in the color 03 English Rose. The reason I returned this one was because it was like a 2-color blush. The bigger part of the blush was a much lighter color and it just made it look a little chalky, so that just did not work for me. But the next one up, which like I said, I had tried Poppy before and that one was just too dark, so hopefully I can eventually find one that works because I've heard really good stuff about this blush. And I don't have any alternatives for both of those because it wasn't so much formula, it was more so color selection on my part. I don't want to give you something else in replacement of those just because I just picked the wrong shades. The formula seemed really nice, so maybe if I find a shade that works, I'll then let you know how they perform. Another thing I did return was the Sephora Collection Sheer Matte Lip Balm in the color Tan. And the only reason I ended up returning this is because, again, it's just a chapstick with a hint of color and I just don't need it. And I'm going to just recommend the Summer Fridays, best lip balm I've ever used, and I really enjoy that one. Another item I returned is the Buxom Powerline Plumping Lip Liner in the color Hush Hush Henna. The reason I returned this one was mainly because of shade. It was just a little bit too pink to my liking. I did pick up High Def Honey in the same Buxom lip liner. I love that one. So if you have medium skin tone and don't really wear pink, I would definitely recommend High Def Honey. That one is so good. If you like pinks though, try Hush Hush Henna. Formula is fantastic. It just wasn't the color selection for me. One that I ended up returning that actually really hurt my heart as well is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder in the shade Cherry Blossom. This has been sold out for months and so many people tried so hard to get their hands on it. I finally did. I had to return it because the scent was just way too strong. I don't really do heavy scents like that. It literally just smelled like a giant flower and I don't like florals. So that's another thing. I wish I could tell you that I tried it. I didn't because I just couldn't get past the scent. However, I have tried other Huda Beauty loose baking powders and they're beautiful. They perform so nice. And the one that I have doesn't have a scent. So I'm not entirely sure why the Cherry Blossom does. The other item I ended up returning was the Kosas Dream Beam Silicone Free Mineral Sunscreen SPF 40 with ceramides. I don't know if I said that right. I ended up returning this because it pilled. It just pilled and pilled and pilled and it didn't matter how I used it. I would put it on without makeup and it would still pill after an hour or so. I want it to wear underneath my makeup and I know if I put foundation or anything on top of it, it's just going to lift. So because of that, I did end up returning it. An alternative to mineral sunscreen that I absolutely love is the Tatcha. The Tatcha Mineral Sunscreen is my absolute favorite sunscreen. Summer Fridays is another great one. The Kosas one just didn't work, so I definitely recommend either the Summer Fridays or the Tatcha for that matter. And then the very last item that I ended up returning was the Sephora Collection Micro Smooth Multitasking Baked Face Palette in the color Enchant. So I picked this up because they have an original one. It's a little too dark for me. This one was just unfortunately a little too light. I don't really do a lot of face palettes, so I don't have one to really recommend. I feel like face palettes are very hit and miss. Some people really like them, some people really don't. I'm starting to lean more towards purchasing individual items like the blushes and the bronzers as opposed to buying them in palettes because I find that maybe the bronzer works, but I don't reach for the blush, you know? know, or I don't use those highlighters. And that is it, guys. That is all I have for you today. Just kind of wanted to share what didn't work for me in regards to the stuff I purchased, and then I wanted to give you an alternative for stuff that does work. You know, in case you are looking for something similar to that product, just something that might just work a little bit better. These are the products, again, that worked for me. I purchased all of these items with my money. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks. Bye.